So components for the T-tape or the drip tape selection, emitter spacing. This drip tape comes in, I think Laura will talk about it. It comes in different emitter spacings. So depending on how much water your plants need or how much water you want to put there, you can find different ranges there. There are different flow rates as well. And then you always have an option to think about whether you want to put one row of drip tape or two. And this is an example I took from the Toro information here. These are two plots side by side, and they're comparing the emitter spacing. Here, left-hand side, you have 12-inch emitter spacing. Look at how it's covering the wetting diameter there, and look at the 8-inch. So just 4 inches makes a big difference in how the water will be moving underneath that plastic. So it's pretty stark when you see this picture. And also depending upon the soil, what kind of soil do you have? Do you have a sandy soil? Do you have a loam-based soil, or is it clay? Because the spread of the water underneath that plastic, when it comes out from the drip tape, the wetting diameter is very different. You look at sandy soil, the water just simply goes down because there's not much organic matter to hold on to that. There's very less lateral movement of water. Mostly it's just vertical. Whereas if you have a loam soil, you can see the wetting diameter has increased 3 to 5 feet in this case, and if it's clay, even more. Now under the plastic which we are putting, the top of the plastic is what, 24 inches, 2 feet, maybe 30 inches, 2.5 feet. But still, depending upon the soil, the spread of the water will dictate how your plants grow. So it's good to have an idea of what kind of soil you are in, and do you need just one drip tape or two, because it becomes handy. This is a scenario where you have sandy soil, and let's consider this to be onions. I'm not good at making art here with onion plants. I try to put 4 plants in there. You're growing 4 rows of onions, single drip tape. It's a sandy soil. You put single drip tape there. Here you put 2, and just to show how the wetting diameter will affect the plant growth. So you can see even those 2 plants at the edges are not getting enough water, whereas the ones which are in the middle, in this one here, the 2 drip tapes certainly will be better. Just a quick overview here of the way they should be set up. Oftentimes we get confused, should the filter go ahead or should the pressure regulator go after? So you have a ball, and then you have a backflow preventer, have your pressure regulator there. You can put the pressure regulator before, we put it at after the filter actually, tubing adapter, and then you go into your main header and the drip. I think I'll quickly go through this section and give Laura her time. When to irrigate, and oftentimes this is what we do, right? We dig, we look, we feel, and we decide, oh yeah, it needs water, or it doesn't need water. But that's not a way. That's not a good way. Rule of thumb, ideally, you look at different publications from different universities, we all agree upon that the plants need on an average an inch per week. But there are 2 other approaches which are more appropriate. Water balance approach, in which you need to know the evapotranspiration that's happening, the crop you are growing, the region where you are, and you can do that. Iowa State has a website called the MesoNet. So if you just Google MesoNet, agronomy department posts that server there which has data, weather data, soil temperature, moisture, relative humidity, and they give you the evapotranspiration values, and you can figure out how much water you need to apply. Otherwise, you can monitor your soil moisture directly. Which means you have some sensors which you put in, not a lot. You can go in there and take a look at the sensor, and based on that you can decide irrigation or not. And one thing that's very commonly talked about when we talk about sensors are the tensiometers. These are not very expensive, range anywhere from $75 to $80. And these are plastic tubes. There's a ceramic cup here. You install it, and they have instructions how to correctly install it. Once you install it in the soil, there's a column that is built between the water in the soil and the ceramic. So as the water dries, there's more pressure built up, and you'll see that pressure right here in this meter. And for tensiometers, generally for most of the crop, the way we work, the unit is in centibar or kilopascal, both are the same. when your reading comes to anywhere between 30 and 35, it's time to water. And you will notice that when you water at 30 to 35, after some time, usually 3 to 4 hours, the needle comes down and it's close to 10, 5 or 10. That shows that your soil is saturated now. It's at water holding capacity. And then you leave it there. Maybe 2 or 3 days back, you come and check again. Or maybe next day, if it's too hot, you see the needle going up. As soon as it reaches 30 or 35, you water again. Now, there are some more advanced ones in which you don't have to use that meter. You can, it's more electronic. So it's the same thing, same concept. You have this sensor here. It's the watermark, and I think I switched the prices. Actually, that costs $279. That's the sensor which reads the moisture. And this one, the sensor actually costs about $39. And what you do is you install it in there. You just walk with your sensor. You connect the sensor, the reader to your sensor. It gives a reading. And yeah, for them the range is a little higher. When they are at 30 to 60, or I would say 50, 55, that's the time you water, and you bring it down. And then again, it goes to 30, 60, you again water. Now this comes with a manual which has all the information about when to water depending on the soil, because sandy soil might be different, clay soil would be different. So we have slowly moved on to using this because it's easier. We install the sensors at different locations, different plots. All I have to have is one reader, and I can just walk to that, measure it, go to my next plot, measure it. So that way, it's a more integrated system. Now, oftentimes we miss on this factor here that each crop has a different type of root system. So in this one, you can see carrot, cabbage, spinach, squash, lettuce. They have a total different root architecture. So the roots will go to different depths to get water. So you might need to replenish more water for certain crops than the others. Anybody wants to take a guess of what the first crop would be? Corn. It's a vegetable. So tomato would be, and I should have made the graph better. This is about 3 to 4 feet. I mean, it can go to 3.5 feet. A vegetable which is a perennial vegetable. Asparagus. So the asparagus you need, more water because we are putting the crown even more deeper. How much do I irrigate? Also depends upon soil properties. This is from Dr. Hank Tabor, who was my predecessor in this position, and he had developed an extension bulletin which had some information about different types of soil and how much of the pressure they have at field capacity and how much at 25% depletion. So, and also the top chart up there shows how much of water can they hold. So you can decide how much of water you want to put based on if you know your soil. So if I know I have sandy loam soil, I know it can hold about an inch per foot. And then you go back to the chart or kind of an idea of, there's a chart for that also. What's the working depth? If it's tomato, if it's asparagus, and then you figure out, okay, tomato, let's say 2 feet. So if the sandy loam holds only 1 to 1.5 per foot, so I need to apply double than that because the root zone is deeper. And then you can figure out the number of plants in there and and there's an equation. You can also do your mathematical calculation as well. And Joe is here.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. So Joe has also made it easier. He has an Excel file where you can just plug these numbers in there, and you can get those numbers out of how much to irrigate and how much amount of water to put. So feel free to talk to him after this. So this is our system here. The pump is coming out anywhere from 60 to 90 psi. 25 to 40 psi is actually, so this is our first pressure regulator that brings it down from that 60, 90 to about 25 to 40. From there, we go into a filter. So you see the lay flat there. We have a filter, a pressure regulator, which brings it to 12 psi. And then this is something which we are doing now is that we are fertigating at the same time. So what we did is this contraption was available with these tires. So what we did is we just put a dosatron on top of it. And then we have a 5-gallon bucket in which you can put your fertilizer, any kind of a liquid fertilizer. and we just connect it. The end comes here, goes up there, dosatron picks the fertilizer, comes out here, and it goes to the plot. So, and the reason we have it on a movable cart is that I can move it to different locations at the farm. I don't need to have different dosatrons. So it was easier to manage different plots that way.
What do those cost?
This actually, the cart, we got it from the greenhouse manager. He had got it, I don't know what he bought. It was part of like a system, like a bigger dosatron system, which he took it off from there and he put it on the greenhouse, installed it inside, so the cart was available. So we just got it. So I'm not sure what the cost would be.
There are a couple $100 depending on total flow rate. So the smaller, if you just need it for a high tunnel, you'd be able to get by with about 150, 200 bucks. If you're looking at irrigating 5 to 10 acres at one time and injecting all that at once, you're looking at 500 plus.
Yeah. So what was the cost? Yes, I was giving you the cost of the cart. I didn't know.
You could use a wagon, right?
Yeah, you can use a wagon. Yeah, dosatron, Joe is correct. We recently bought one, a high capacity one. We paid $600, and we did a price search. We went to different companies, Hummers, and the best deal we got was from Knowles. And from Cresco, Knowles, Midwest producer. Knowles gave us an excellent deal on the dosatron, so we bought it from them. It was the same product, no different, but they charged us less.
Have you been able to put fish through it?
Yes, we have. We have a dosatron that we recently bought. That was for an organic project, organic broccoli and pepper. And we have a product called Phytamin. We have used for that, and it doesn't clog the system. We have a drip, because we looked at it, because we wanted a drip irrigation system for organic production as well. Okay, so the conclusion, drip irrigation, excellent and a wise choice. It might look complicated, but once you start putting things together, it is not. Order more parts than you think you need, because something breaks, you don't have to wait for the other part to come, and so it's better to get some extra things and yeah, keep working. Don't cap off the lines until you have flushed it, that's very important, and then clean your filter periodically. And Ray found a very good technique of cleaning it too. What he does is, every time he turns it on, he takes the filter out and he disconnects the whole system, and the big pressure, where it comes at about 60, he just holds the filter in front of it and just blasts the algae out of it, and then just put it back in there. So that was a good system for us to use.